Well, good evening. How are we doing? Just check I got audio. Oh, good evening. I can hear myself on my phone. That's good. Have left it running. Literally had to. My daughter was calling me bang on 8 o'clock, going, "I need more screen time." So had to go sort that out, and hopefully she'll do other things. Jump in the shower, get her PJs, get all that out of the way. The joys of 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. Let me get set up here. If you're watching, please feel free to say hi in the chat where you're calling in from. While I get myself set up, I'll have a look at the chat again in a minute. So if you're joining, welcome to the laboratory. And I am in the middle of tidying up my Obsidian vault. I have become obsessed with Markdown files because it's just a really easy to use kind of text format. It's not particularly sort of corporate-y Word document or Google Sheet, and it's easy to edit, like on my phone, on the go. And also I've been setting up a way in which I can use my ADH brain, and in the morning or in the middle of the night when I wake up, just start talking to my phone, have it dictate that information, dump it into a file, and actually I've built a tool that's processing it. Because the one thing that I've kind of been figuring out is that my brain and all my notebooks around me are kind of graveyards of ideas, creative thoughts, video titles, book suggestions, lists of movies or TV shows that people have told me to read, watch, view, books as well. But not just that, there's a wealth of creative stuff that's just come up in my head, and I need to get it out somewhere. And I often journal it down, or I've used every to-do app, reminder app, and then more and more I'm figuring out that actually my brain is not wired that way. And I've been even thinking through, like, since I've come with this idea that I've got ADHD, I've been even thinking through like what my school report said, and even what my quarterly reviews in my corporate life kept saying is that, just like a little bit more focus on these things, and like really wanting me to be, well, let's fix the areas where you're not great and let's get those up, as opposed to when I have worked at companies that are really kind of genuinely inclusive, they're like, well, let's focus on what you're really good at and get you excelling in that, because that's going to multiply what you can bring to the table. And I've always loved that sort of environment because I felt encouraged, and I felt like I was able to kind of go into my skills. But I also think that over the past year, I heard this analogy that there's like the people with neurodiversity tend to be more like hunters, but they're living in a farmer's world, a world where it's rhythmical and it's measured and it's get up early, go out, till the ground. You're not living in flow with yourself or with nature necessarily. Of course, there is a flow to farming. I don't mean that, but you're much more so if you're a hunter. You're tracking the animals and making the use of all of the cover and nature around you, as opposed to just blitzing an entire forest so you can put down a field of. So I've been trying to be normal as a business owner. And also feel like I've been trying to dull down my message a little bit, because like at the start of 2025, I really thought that I was going to start a collective called Rowley's Rebels and have us push back. Push back might be too strong a word, but have us rebel against the corporate nature, rebel against the system, and really dive into being the full versions of ourselves. And I think that that's kind of what I've been coming back to over time, is the fact that, you know, I've tried to be this magician on stage pulling rabbits out of hats, and it's felt like that's kind of the way that I operated in my career. But the only times I really succeeded is when I built a team around me, when I was working together with other people, when I leveraged what they were good at, and it filled in the gap where I wasn't great. And they were like completely, empowered to do that. They were able to stretch their skills. It wasn't, it was a symbiotic relationship, and they often didn't get how I could like hop between, a really, tiny kind of piece of feedback conversation with somebody about the smallest details, and then jump into a big, what are we doing for the next 2 years conversation in the next meeting, and really be able to kind of dig into that and figure out what that looked like. So I think that's, and now I am getting distracted by my alerts because my friends are pinging me. So let me turn that off, because who likes distractions? And you don't want to hear my ding dings from my text messages to you. So let me see if I can show you this. So I've been working through my Obsidian library. Can I put it on the screen? Is that it? There we go. And can I get myself on the screen too? Yes. Okay. So this is just one of the documents I've been working on in Obsidian. It's just that idea, like that, we weren't designed to fit into that system. We weren't designed to fit into the system of farmers or factories, And I think so many people that I talk to, and so much work that I put in last year, was helping people to start to think of themselves as finishers. Because I don't know about you, but I love starting things. And I really struggle when it gets into maintenance. And it gets harder and harder the closer you get to the destination, to finishing something, to handing it off, because there's a push and pull between progress and perfectionism. And I've really had to learn that, 80% is, good enough. 80% is great. And done is better than perfect. But that is something I've had to learn and build up as a skill set. And it's taken a change of identity from the vibrant starter to, pushing into something that's really engaging and different. And it's changing me. It's changing who I am. It's changing how I show up. And I really think that it's helpful for us to dig into like how we're made. We're really good at something to push into it and be brilliant at it. And that's like this idea that's talked about in the neurodiverse world, the idea of a spiky profile. And I even had AI make us a little image of, the factory worker is encouraged to have a lot of the same skills. Maybe they're really good at some, maybe some of them slightly above other, but it's kind of flat. It looks like this. Whereas when you've got spiky skills, you've got a high drive in creativity and autonomy, and you can work brilliantly on your own, but maybe you're also brilliant working with other people. So there's lots of different ways in which you are creative and in your build, and even in your own neurodiversity. So I just want to be part of celebrating that and helping you to really push into it, kind of allowing that to happen. So yes, you're going to be 12 out of 10 for brilliant ideas, and people often come to you to check in on your brilliant ideas, but don't ask me to fill in an invoice and send it to somebody. And like that's even what I'm trying to build an operating system for my business, so that those things can happen automatically, so that when an invoice comes in my email or get a receipt for something, it'll just be put in a folder and categorized so I can send it to my accountant at the end of the year, just to make stuff like that really simple. You know. And also one of the things that I've really been thinking about a lot about this week is the fact that we often get isolated in this way of thinking and processing. You know, it takes, you feel like you don't line up with the other people that you work alongside, or that maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your family, your work colleagues. You feel a little bit different, and because I think we're wired differently, and I think a lot of creatives are wired differently, and they show up in the world as if they're wired differently. And you know what? I think it's okay, but I also think that we need to come together, and we need to work together, and we need to be there for each other. And that's a piece that I'm going to just hit on in the next section as well. So keep scrolling down here. I'll keep going. So like I said already, there's this tax around ADHD. There's this tax around neurodiversity that it's so much harder for us to do the things that we're not great at, because we're coming from a deficit. It feels like negative. It feels like hard. It feels like difficult for us to do it. And I also think that that's, like I said, has pushed us into a corner of being self-reliant. But then sometimes it means that those things don't get done. Let me go back here. We don't get those things done, and our accountants are emailing us and calling us, or people are asking us to process their payment, and they want their money, or you let things slide, and it gets harder and harder to deliver the work. Maybe that's in a work scenario. Maybe you're delivering something for a client. It can just get more and more difficult. But I really believe that we need to come together and work together and support each other, but also build out ways and not be afraid to hire somebody in who's not great at it. So if I need help with marketing, I'll hire somebody for marketing. If I need help with accounting, I'm not going to try it myself. There was one business I ran years ago. I tried to do it myself, and oh my goodness, the joy I had in actually handing it over to my accountant was amazing. Just not even beyond amazing. It was just a wonderful experience to hand to somebody who knew what they were doing. They asked me a couple of questions, asked me for a few other bits of paperwork, and I was like, okay, I can live with that. And they came back with fully produced accounts that I was able to submit, and it was just fab. I just think that I need to give up on DIY, and I'd like to encourage you to give up on DIY and to think of this idea. Let me share the screen here. I've got another one. So the DIY, I was trying to do it all. I was trying to pull the rabbit out of the hat. I was trying to get invoices out. I was trying to stay on top of marketing and lead generation. But I love this term, DIT, do it together. And that's always been the idea that's inspired me and that I've engaged on around. So I'm looking here, I've got the screen that you're seeing is over here, is the idea of a collective, the idea of us working together, encouraging each other, sharing what we can learn, what each of us can do. I have so many technical skills that I've picked up over the years. Like today, I'm using 2 different AI code systems to build this operating system for my business. I've helped people with their YouTube channels. I've helped people with their email to their groups of people. I've helped people with their set up their audio gear so that they can DJ and host dance nights. There's loads of things that I've and that's just what I bring. Like giving people feedback on their work, whether that's video or music, whether that's writing, but I think that when we come together, we have so much to offer each other because we're all made so differently. And I was talking to somebody just a week or 2 ago, and she was like, well, I'm not really a big idea person. but I can execute. And I was like, oh my goodness, we all need one of those in our lives, So just hearing that, I think, is a fab way to kind of be encouraged and go, hey, there are other people out here who can do this and help us to make progress and help us to push into the new thing. So what I'm suggesting is that we come together, and we empower each other through this collective. And the collective, alongside using AI, because most of the people I talk to at some stage fire up Claude or Gemini, or at least we mention ChatGPT. But certainly I know it does get used. And that's really what I'm here to suggest, is that we just get together and work on that. So the idea of like this pit crew, like I was watching Formula One on the weekend. I'm glad it's back, but the person out driving the Formula One car cannot do it without the entire crew that show up at the track, but also the entire crew that are back at the factory that are making the cars, that are developing, that are writing the software for them. Like, it's a huge collective. Some of the teams have like 1,000+ members, both those who show up at the crew and move on. So just want to encourage you and suggest that you would like double down on what you're good at, what you're amazing at. Just keep doing that, because that's how you show up above the ordinary. And then try to automate your dips or outsource them, whether that's using Fiverr, whether that's using AI tools, whether it's like just a simple thing where you can automate it. Like I set up one today that scans my inbox and I run it every month for invoices and receipts, and it puts them in a folder. Simple. But now that it's done, I'll run it 12 times this year and I'll send it to my accountant. And the great thing is, my wife has the same problem too, so I'll just set that up for her. And then she will have a folder that she can just go, oh, there you go, Adele, I'm all sorted now. And hopefully that'll be enough. But to that end, what I want to do is I want to invite you to our parallel play sessions. At the moment, they're running on Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. Dublin time, so that's tomorrow. That's 11 a.m. Eastern time, and I think it's 7 a.m. On the West Coast, because one of our members joins from the West Coast, and he gets up and he starts working in his studio. Give me one sec. Let me find us a link to that. And I will put it in the chat. I'll also, if you're watching this afterwards, there'll be a link to it in the description too. Give me one sec. Nope, that's not it. And I just see Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Lynn's watching from Southport, Connecticut. Lynn, thanks for joining us. And Lynn has been in the parallel play session since back in September. So it'll be fab to hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow if you're around. Thanks for joining us this evening. And let me get this. I have a link. It's going in the chat. So if you want to join up, sign up here. You just need to sign up for tomorrow's session, and it'll send you an email with a calendar entry, and you can join from there. And we run from 3 till 5, so it runs for 2 hours. So drop in, even if you're not available for the whole 2 hours. If you just want to drop in and pop in and like get some work done. That can be creative work, and can be admin work. It can just be like tidying up your studio so you can clear the deck so you're ready to get going. Oh, Lynn says she's coming. See you tomorrow. Okay, great. See you tomorrow, Lynn. So if you want to join myself and Lynn, and probably Jason from San Diego, and potentially 1 or 2 others, jump on that link and jump in. And literally, we'll just be sat here. We'll do a quick introduction, share what we're going to work on, a little bit of accountability around that. And then I might turn around and get working on some music, or I might continue to build out my the operating system for my business. But we're all there to help each other. Sometimes we share a little bit of the day-to-day of what's happening, and just get into the idea of here's the thing that I'm doing, and here's how you can help. And maybe even, hey, I'm a little bit stuck in this, and as a collective, we can all share our years of wisdom, and that's really what we've been thinking and processing a lot about as well this week. Anyone else watching would like to let us know where you're watching in from? Love to hear from you. Let me see what else can I share. Make this smaller. So here's the place that you get taken to. It's really as simple as just clicking on the day, selecting a seat, and putting in your name and your email address, and hitting confirm. And then you'll get an automated reply with the details. That's pretty straightforward. Love to help you. Oh, hang on. Let me go back one. I put it on the screen. There we go. Yes. So here's when you click on the link, it's going to take you here to my cal.com account. Here's the next couple of days that we've got. Select the seats for tomorrow and put in your name and email address and come and join us. It says it's an hour and a half. We run it for 2. It seems to be working out that way. Okay. Let me get back to the screen where I can see you all. Wesley, thanks for jumping in. Hello from Switzerland. Hello, Switzerland. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. And if you're around, or even if you've got a few minutes to drop in and say hi, please do. It'd be great to see you. Thanks, Wesley. Drop the link. And while I'm here, another thing you could do that might be useful, if you'd like to start to think through the idea of locating yourself. Where are you? Where are you stuck? Where are you most tripped up? I also have a quiz. It's that just helps to locate creatives and figure out where their biggest blocks, and it'll actually take you through a number of questions. They're really simple. It's just a yes and no, true, false. And like I said, there's only one answer that you need to put in. It'll take you on to the next question. It's quite quick, and it takes a couple of minutes. And then it'll give you an indication of where you're stuck. But then also, when I get the results, I'll get back to you with the personalized overview of where you're most stuck. And for a lot of people, it's lots of different areas, which is not uncommon. Potentially that they're overwhelmed, that they kind of lack digging into, maybe they don't get to all their admin stuff. Maybe they're feeling isolated. And that's partly why we have these parallel play kind of body doubling, do it together sessions, is so we can feel a little bit less isolated. And people do join from all over the place. It'd be cool to have somebody jump in from Switzerland. I actually did some coaching with a gentleman that was working in Switzerland as well. So it would be great to get some more representation from there. Awesome. That's it. So if you'd like to do a little bit of soul searching, answer some questions, and kind of figure out where it is you're stuck, and to locate yourself as a creative, the quiz will be there to help too. So have a dig into that, and I'll get back to you with a personal recommendation of where you're stuck and steps you can take today to actually move forward as well. Great. Anyone have any questions or things that they'd like me to cover in the chat? I'll give you a minute or two for that. Super cool to have a couple of people join in. Thanks for watching. And if you can, join us in the parallel play tomorrow. I'll put the links about the quiz and the parallel play in the description for this if you're watching back afterwards. Awesome. So cool to have you all along. And thanks very much for joining us. And we're nearly at half an hour. So I'm going to wrap it up there. And hope to see some of you tomorrow in the parallel play session. All right. You take care of yourselves and see you then. Bye. Don't forget to stay creative.